You're listening to the Sasha Davis Podcast, a show about overcoming fear and manifesting your dream life. Each week, we'll dive deep into real stories and tangible advice about spirituality, law of attraction, mindset, and money so that you can be your happiest, healthiest, and most abundant self. You ready? Here we go. All right, happy Monday. Welcome back to another episode of the podcast. Today, I want to talk all about what is the law of attraction. I get this question all the time because a lot of times people just think, oh, whatever I'm thinking will become my reality. And it is so much more than that. You can't just sit on your ass and wish for a pot of gold and then boom, it happens. I mean, it may happen. You know, I do believe that anything is possible, but let's dive into what is the law of attraction, okay? And then on the next episode, we'll talk more about how you can actually use the law of attraction in your everyday life. But this is seriously one of life's biggest mysteries. Again, many folks think that you just can sit here and think about something and poof, it happens. But that is seriously not the case at all. Thoughts and emotions are a key component to the law of attraction. The emotional guidance system is huge when it comes to the law of attraction. And if you're not familiar with the emotional guidance system, I highly suggest looking it up because really where you are vibrating emotionally, whatever your frequency is, what you're putting out there, is what you're going to attract back to you. So I can say that I'm happy and I can say that I'm hunky-dory, all that I want, but if I'm vibrating at a level of like grief or sadness, I can talk all I want. It's just words, okay? So simply put, what you focus on, you get more of. So the concept here, is if you focus on good things, you will get more good things. If you focus on bad things, you will get more bad things. But I really like to think of like law of attraction as an emotional boomerang. Okay. So if I'm putting happiness out into the world, I'm going to get happiness back or whatever. Wherever I'm at on that emotional guidance scale is really going to help me bring that thought, that thing into my physical reality. So again, whatever you're feeling, you're putting out into the world, and that is what you will get in return. So if you're putting out, I want to manifest, $500,000 this year, but you don't really feel like that's possible, then it is not going to happen. And this is where I'm going to get into this later in the episode is like the how, or later in this series is the how to implement this, because there's lots of things that come up. And a lot of times when we're learning about the law of attraction, they don't talk about all of the things that come up, like the imposter syndrome or the shiny object syndrome, or the really how to manifest. Like, what does visualization mean? What does it mean to raise your vibration? We'll get into those things because there's way too much content there for just one episode. I really just want to dive into the specifics of what is the law of attraction. And again, what you focus on, you get more of, okay? Another thing that I like to say is thoughts turn into things. So think about anything that you have anything in your life right now, anything in your life, look around you. What do you have? A car, a house, some kids, a spouse, a job. What do you have in your physical reality? And at some point in your life, this was just a thought. And so then you have this thought, and then you take some form of action. So this is where I find that a lot of teachings on the law of attraction, they miss this whole piece. They miss the emotional piece and they miss the action piece, because without being in emotional vibration with the thing that you want and without taking action, you're like a bump on a log. It's not gonna happen. You might as well sit there and hope and dream that you're gonna win that $1 million. But if you don't actually do something about it and show the universe that you're serious about it, it's very unlikely that it will happen. So first you have a thought, and then you take action, and then that action creates this ripple effect, which then creates your physical reality, okay? So everything you have today is some form of a thought that came along throughout your life, all right? And again, and this is one thing that really helps women understand the law of attraction. So I've used this analogy before and I'll use it again. But if you bought a red truck, okay, or if I started talking about red trucks, all of a sudden, boom, you visualize a red truck, right? And if you keep that focus on that red truck, say you go and buy a red truck, or your husband buys a red truck, somebody you know buys a red truck, so you're thinking about red trucks, you're driving down the road and all you see is red trucks because it is the forefront of your mind. It is what you are thinking about. And we all do this when we buy new cars. We're like, oh, it seems like everybody and their mom is buying red trucks, but really that's just what we're focusing on. So that's what we're seeing. That's what's manifesting in our physical reality. And it can be that simple, same thing with like buying houses or having babies, whatever you're focusing on, you're going to see it everywhere you look. So a lot of times when people are like trying to get pregnant or things like that, they'll look around and it seems like everybody and their mom is trying to get pregnant. Everybody's having babies. Everybody's starting the family, but you. And that's because that is exactly where your focus is. And so that is what you are seeing. Same thing with buying a house or getting a job or starting an online business. I hear this a lot, like in the mastermind, the clients that I work with when they're trying to, change their reality. They try to manifest their dream life. I shouldn't say try, they very much are. And so in there, some of these limiting beliefs come up where, well, everybody is doing this. So who am I to do this? Or I can't do this. And those limiting beliefs actually knock you down on that emotional guidance scale and puts you farther away from the thing that you desire most. So one of the things about law of attraction is there's abundance everywhere. There's enough to go around. And law of attraction happens whether you believe in it or not. Okay. It's like gravity. You don't wake up in the morning and think, oh, I better sit up and make sure that my feet hit the ground. Like you just don't think about it. And it's the same thing with law of attraction. And so a lot of us are just mindlessly wandering around living life by default instead of living life by design. And so by design is when we intentionally choose our reality. And you can do this by goal setting. You can do this by tapping into your spirituality. You can do this by really focusing on the things that you desire in life and then taking that inspired action as it comes up. And inspired action just means an action that you don't have to try to take. It's, if you've ever gone after something in your life and you're in like the flow of it and everything comes easy and you're feeling good and you're like, I got so much done today and it felt amazing and I was happy and I was joyful and I still had time to do other things. That is inspired action. It's where you're like in the groove, you're in the flow, you're getting shit done and it feels really good that you don't even really have to think about it, right? So how do we get into that inspired action more of the time? And really that's by raising our vibration and being happy, essentially doing things that bring you joy. Every time you do things that stress you out or overwhelm you or deplete you, or if you just have that chronic story of I'm stressed, I'm tired, I'm exhausted, I have no money, I have no time, keep telling yourself that. And those are exactly the things that you will keep experiencing in your life. So if you want a different reality, you have to choose different thoughts. Your mind is a tool. It is a tool. It is not this concrete thing. It is not the controller of everything. Like, I believe that your soul, that soul self, that thing deep inside you where you're like, I know I'm here for a reason. I have a bigger purpose. I want to be happy. I want to do these things. But then your brain starts talking and all of a sudden you have self-doubt. All of a sudden you have self-sabotage. All of a sudden you start second guessing yourself, or all of a sudden fear shows up. Fear is all around. The women that I work with, I say to them, is this a fear? Is this the fear talking? This sounds like fear is running the show. And I always say, what would your highest self say right now? So that 10-year version of you, that lifetime version of you, what would she say? She would say, pull up your big girl pants and make it happen. Okay. Your mind is very, very powerful, but you still have the ability to shift your thoughts. You have the ability to change your reality. And this again goes back to, you may have a really awful past, or you used to have really bad thoughts, or you had really bad things happen to you. Sometimes we can't control our circumstances, but you are always, 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 always in control of how you think, of how you act, and how you feel about any circumstance, any situation. You have that control. The situation doesn't have control over you, because that is not empowering. That would be you giving your power away to something else. That doesn't feel very good, okay? So your mind is a powerful tool. How do you master that mindset? And so this is by intentionally choosing better feeling thoughts. Simply put, again, like the law of attraction is just what you focus on, you get more of. So if you focus on more things that bring you joy, if you focus more things on I don't necessarily want to say positive, because if you just think everything's happy-go-lucky and you're not feeling it, it's dead in the water, okay? You have to have the feeling behind it. And so that's why I say do more things that bring you joy, because you have the action there and you have the feeling of joy. And when you're feeling joy, you think more joyous thoughts. So for me, things that bring me joy are definitely traveling, working directly with clients. I really love that. Family time. I really love that. I love being outside. I love being around horses. I love being around animals. I love the mountains. I love the ocean. I love reading. What else brings me joy? Sunshine. Oh man, sunshine brings me so much joy, like warm sunshine. What else brings me joy? Baths. I actually like taking baths. I never used to be a bath person. I used to think they were disgusting. Anything spiritual kind of brings me joy. I'm not talking like way out there spirituality, but I do like, the crystals. I like the cards. I like oils. I like manifestation. I like law of attraction. All of those things. All of those things bring me joy. Going on date nights. My love language is quality time. So anytime I can spend quality time with anybody, that just absolutely brings me joy, whether it's a person or an animal. And so when I can start to embody more feelings of joy more of the time, guess what? It raises that vibration within me. And on the emotional guidance scale, if I'm vibrating at a level of joy, I'm going to attract some really amazing things into my life. Think of you feeling good as you magnetizing yourself to attract whatever it is that you desire most. So if you're coming from a place of like hopefulness or hopelessness or doubt or fear, you're actually pushing those things farther away. Okay. So the things that you desire are going farther and farther away is because they're like, she's a hot mess. She seems desperate. And anytime somebody comes from a place of desperation, what happens? They run the other way. You guys know this. Think about it in your personal life. Anytime somebody has come at you desperately, or you've come at somebody desperately, they typically don't just say, oh, you seem really desperate. Let me help you out. Or maybe they do. But I know if people come to me and they're desperate, or if I sense desperation, or if I sense any type of bullshit, I run the other way. I'm like, no, thank you. But if people are coming from a place of like love and abundance and joy, I want to be part of that. And the universe is the exact same. It wants to be a part of it. It wants you to be successful. It wants you to have a happy, fulfilled life. It's pointless for us all to be here if we're just walking around angry and mad and sad and all of this stuff. Like, life is way too beautiful for you to not be experiencing it at its fullest potential. And so don't let fear run the show. Invite it along for the car ride, but just be like, all right, fear, you got a backseat ride on this trip. Okay. You're not running the show. I am running the show. My highest self is running the show. I'm the controller of my thoughts. I'm the controller of my reality. How can I manifest this dream life? By intentionally choosing thoughts and feelings and actions that are going to vibrate at a higher level so that I can call this stuff into my life. And this sounds really crazy, I know it does, but I have been practicing the law of attraction since I found it in like 2006, 2008. And I have attracted some incredible, incredible things into my life. I'm talking like an all-exclusive trip to Hawaii, my husband, I can't tell you how many times I've won at the casino, or horses, or job opportunities, or I mean, literally anything in my life. If I really, really wanted it, I was like, okay, how can I make this happen? And I'll get into the how on the next episode, because there's a lot of ways that you can strategically use the law of attraction, intentionally use the law of attraction. You just have to be aware of it, right? So we can use gravity to our benefit. We can use the air we breathe to our benefit. That's another thing, like the law of attraction, it just happens, okay? You don't have to think about breathing, but you're breathing in and you're breathing out. You do it all day long. It's why you're still alive on this planet. It's like the number one thing that like you cannot live more than a few minutes without, okay? But you're not intentional about it. And so you can bring that intentionality to it, and you can do things like improve your wellness, decrease your stress, increase your emotional health, all of those things by intentionally breathing. This is why there's the whole concept of like breath work or yoga or meditation. All of those things will naturally help you feel overall wellness in your mind, body, and spirit. And so the law of attraction is the same way. You can practice it intentionally, or you can continue to live your life by default and not really place much energy and attention on the thoughts or the reality that you are choosing for yourself. Okay. So today, what I want you to do, your little takeaway for today, your little action step for today, is just to make note of all of the thoughts that you are thinking throughout a day. So think of it as like a mental checklist, or like a mental inventory, a brain dump, whatever you want to call it. But make note of all of the thoughts that you have throughout the day, whether they're good thoughts, neutral thoughts, bad thoughts. And then what I want you to do is tomorrow, take a look at that list of thoughts, okay? Every time you have a thought, write it down. Every time you have a thought, write it down, or just make a mental note, make a note in your phone, whatever. And then go through and take inventory. How many good thoughts did I have? How many things made me feel really good? How many bad thoughts did I have? How many things made me feel really awful? How many neutral thoughts did I have? And neutral thoughts can be like, it's time to eat lunch. I'm driving to work. You know, those can also be emotionally charged depending on where you're at in your life. But for me, like those would be neutral thoughts for me, right? Like they don't stir up like this good, bad feeling. But food or driving could absolutely be a positive or a negative thought for somebody. So you just have to really take note of what the thought is and how it makes you feel. And then after you have that personal inventory of your thoughts, you can intentionally choose new thoughts to replace the ones that don't make you feel that great. Okay. So this is the power of the mind. And I want you to choose new thoughts that you truly believe in, not just like this junk of like, I'm going to be a millionaire. I'm going to be a millionaire. Like, great. Okay. That's not going to work, because you have to believe it here and now. So how we do this is we shift it to the present tense, like I am working on financial freedom, or I am working on emotional wellness, or I am working on manifesting my dream life, whatever that looks like, right? You make it so that it's present tense, and so that you believe it, so that it's not like concrete. It seems like a destination versus a journey. Okay. So these are just some tips, but I really want you to take personal inventory of your thoughts over the next 24 hours. See what comes up and just kind of see where your scale is. So I'm a Libra, right? The sign for that is a scale. So see which side weighs more. Do you have more good feeling thoughts, or do you have more not so good feeling thoughts? And then those are a direct reflection of your physical reality. So if you're not happy with your job, if you're not happy with your relationships, if you're not happy with your money, if you're not happy with your whatever it is because of either the actions that you've taken or the thoughts that you've been choosing, intentionally or unintentionally, over the last. And so sometimes this can be a hard pill for folks to swallow, women especially, because we're like, shit, what have I been doing this whole time? Or we want to play the victim card. And so this is where all those limiting beliefs come in. This is where all the finger pointing comes in. And this is where the whole rest of the process comes in on how we can overcome all of these emotionally charged beliefs so that we can really focus on how to attract the life that we want to be living. Okay. So again, law of attraction, what you focus on, you get more of. Okay. Thoughts turn into things. Choose them wisely. All right. We'll catch you guys next time. And if you enjoyed this podcast, if you enjoyed this episode, I would love for you to leave an honest review, screenshot, share with a friend, tag me, Sasha.Davis, and we'll catch you next time.